This is the Nikon Coolpix 8400, which was released in September 2004 in the UK. My first Nikon digital camera was the 5400, the sort of predecessor to this one. And if I'd had the money at the time, I would have bought this one because I thought at the time it was a beautiful little camera, but it was surprisingly expensive even on the second-hand market. Actually, it's surprisingly expensive today. When I bought this camera, I bought it untested for, well, for the very reasonable sum of about £15. However, it didn't come with a charger, and that's where I kind of got a shock. The charger for these particular batteries, wow, they're really expensive. They must be really rare now. Going price on eBay is about £80 to £100 for the charger second hand. So that makes this quite a substantial investment for a camera which is nearly 20 years old. However, in the time it was made, 2004, this was pretty much cutting edge technology. It has an 8 megapixel sensor. It's got a 3.5 times optical zoom. The focus range is, well, it's about 20 inches. What's that? That's about 50 centimeters to infinity. Not brilliant. The storage on these cameras is via compact flash, which goes in there. So it takes one of these, on that one, takes one of these rather large, chunky compact flash cards. It has a flip out screen. It's a 1.8 LCD screen, which is fully articulated, which is really handy, and it produces brilliant images. I've put some images in the gallery at the end of this video for you to have a look. So let's have a little walk around the camera to explain how it works. I guess for a lot of people this might just be a point and shoot camera. Select the green button, point at your object, job's a good one. However, this camera cost nearly $900 when it was released in the United States, so it is much more than a point and shoot camera. So let's have a quick look. The mode dial is on the top. So at the moment I've got it set up for point and shoot. I've got fully programmed. Camera sorts everything out for me. Shutter priority, I select the shutter speed, camera selects the aperture. Aperture priority, I select the aperture, camera selects the shutter speed. Manual, where I select both the aperture and the shutter speed to suit the shooting conditions that I experience. The camera has about 13 scene modes. Not my sort of thing, but if you like them, they're there. Not great video, but we're talking mid-noughties. The setup here will allow me to set the camera up the way I want it to be. I've got this control here, which allows me to change the image quality from basic through to RAW or TIFF files. ISO, not great range on the ISO, about 50 to 400. White balance, I can change that for indoor lights, outdoor lights. This allows me to review the photos once I've taken them. The other control on top is the backlight button, which allows me to illuminate the display here. On the back of the camera I've got a menu button. Quick button is interesting. It just allows me to review the picture that I've just taken while still in the shooting mode that I've selected here. Trash can for getting rid of images I don't want, and the display button here shows me the histogram. This button at the bottom swaps between this LCD display and the LCD display which is in the camera. So this camera has a sort of early EVF system. I can put it up to manual focus, or I can have it on autofocus. I can zoom in, I can zoom out. Normally depressing the button on the shutter release will lock the exposure and the autofocus. If I don't want to do it there, I can do it here. And this is my main control for altering the shutter speed or the aperture, depending how I've got it set up. This dial over here is a diopter corrector for those of us who wear glasses, and that takes us to the front of the camera. This little circular dot here is my AF assist light, and it also works as a self-timer. My autofocusing system is this sensor here. The sensor at the bottom of the camera is for an optional infrared receiver. The controls here, I can over or underexpose my image, I can control the flash, and this function button allows me to swap into the scene modes while I'm shooting. Underneath I have some removable panels here that allow me to put an additional battery grip on here, which allows me to use this as a vertical grip. Tripod as standard. Oh, this is interesting. This is my DC in, so I can actually power this without the batteries. Microphone here, and really that's about it. The proof of the pudding, as they say, is in the eating. In this case, it's in the images that the camera produces. Last weekend we went to the London Wetland Centre in Barnes in West London, and I took some pictures. I'm going to show them in the gallery at the end of this, but for the moment I'm going to leave it here. This is the Nikon Coolpix 8400 8 megapixel compact camera from about 2004-2005.